So we'll start on one side with our kettlebell. You want to make sure your hand's nice and deep into your handle. And we'll get the same side foot pushed into the ground. Your wrist stays nice and straight throughout the whole movement. Your lat stays nice and tight because you're going to move through different planes of motion. And you need your deltoid to stay mobile, but you need to protect your shoulder by keeping tension in your lat. So we roll on to our opposite shoulder. Find a good position to push that palm and elbow into the ground. We sit up nice and tall. We check our back muscles, and we lift our hips off the ground, and we sweep our leg through to a kneeling position. So this is a sticking point for a lot of people. You want the kettlebell kind of pull you back and open up some thoracic mobility. You don't want your wrist to bend here. You want your elbow, or you can let your elbow bend because it's pulling into a little more flexibility. So from here we go to a weight transfer. Check your back muscles again. We can do one of two things. If you have knee issues, you would want to step into the lunge because you need to stay squared in your lunge position. Or we can knee pivot, square up your lunge. But here we're going to stand, and then we're going to reverse the motion back to your kneeling position with either a knee pivot or a sweep step, but either one, we've got to sit back with our hip. And then we're going to find the floor with the same side hand. Make sure you're stable through your heel and palm, and then we'll bring it all down nice and slow. Back to your shoulder blade. And then here's where we rack the bell. We don't just fall down and let the bell fall. Control the bell back to your rack position, roll out of it, and then we'll switch sides. So we have our choice of doing some deadlifts, which you should do a little bit heavier if you're going to choose to do those, just because it's less taxing than a swing as far as your cardiovascular is concerned. But we want to make sure we're getting a good fold, a good hinge, and we lock our glutes out. So there's no arching, okay? We warmed up with our pelvic tilts because that's the end range of your swing or your deadlift. Tension in your glutes, tension in your lats and your abs with a good exhale. So we're either working on some good speedy deadlifts with a good weight that challenges us, or to develop better timing in your swing. We wrap a towel around the kettlebell, and this helps you find the timing of your downswing necessary to keep that belt tight to your body and get the most out of your swing. We're doing towel swings, deadlifts, or two-handed swing. They're all pretty much the same end point and the same beginning point. A good hinge and a good lockout. Okay, so it's 50, 40, 30. Half kneeling. We're going to get a kettlebell hand right in the middle of it. You're going to backswing it and clamp nice and tight into a bottoms up position. Bottom of the kettlebell's up. So most of the pressing or power of your press comes from your base. Okay, your base here, because you're reduced to a kneeling position, it'll help you identify tension needed in your glutes and your abs, because that's what you're pressing off of. It's not so much your grip here as it is the tension you put underneath. So being in a kneeling position helps you identify that a little bit better. So each one, we're going to backswing it, clean it, find a good medium weight, press it up nice and slow and controlled, lock your lat out, bring it back to your rack position, and go into the hinge, okay? So that'll be 12 one side, 12 the other. Push-up position. So we want about shoulders width feet, and this is anti-rotation. We don't want our hips to twist or turn with these, okay? So your hand that stays on the ground, you want it wide open as far as it can go, hands right under your shoulder, and we can practice just pulling that hand off the ground, okay? Because ideally we're getting to this tripod position and rowing. We don't want our hips to lift. We don't want our hips to turn. We don't want our shoulders to turn too much. So 12 one side, 12 the other side. Snatches are pretty much the hardest overhead swing that we're going to do. So we can practice those with cleans and racks because it's the same rotation. It's just higher on the body with the snatch. It's not with the clean and rack, but it's the same end point. Good wrist position, nice and straight. Good hand position, the belt 45 degrees, contact here, contact down here. Okay, so that'll be 12 one side, 12 the other side. You can also work on one arm swings, high pulls, or cleans instead of the snatch if you don't feel that you're up to par in those. Does anybody have questions?